diplomatic side of the war. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has visited Spain's parliament today as part of his European tour, following a stop in France. He was welcomed by Parliament Speaker Francina Armengol and Senate President Pedro Roland before greeting Parliament, board members and signing the Book of Honour. Zelensky is expected to meet Spain's defence minister and senior defence executives, then attend a lunch hosted by King Felipe. Later, he will join Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez to view Picasso's famed Guernica and end the day with a joint press conference at the Moncloa Palace. Ben joins us once again. Ben, of course, Zelensky is facing a lot of trouble at home in regards to a corruption scandal which is ongoing inside Ukraine. Russian news has reported, of course, these are Russian figures coming out of the TASS news agency, but they've said that Zelensky's popularity has fallen by 40% in the past month due to this corruption scandal. How do you think these optics are looking to the Ukrainians, given the fact that Zelensky is in Spain, of course, viewing Picasso paintings, going for grand dinners with kings? Your thoughts?
Zelensky's been backed against the wall. This corruption scandal is incredibly damaging. It comes on top of an attempt by Zelensky in July in order to gut the anti-corruption reforms that have been put in place.
I do apologise, we seem to have some audio issues there. Hopefully Ben gets back to us. Ben joins us once again. Apologies, Ben, we seem to have had some audio issues there. You were saying? Okay. Of course, apologies there. We have further advance peace. Meanwhile, US envoy Steve Witkoff is expected in Turkey on November the 19th. Reports say that he will take part in planned discussions with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who hopes to revive stalled negotiations and restart prisoner of war exchanges. Zelensky is set to travel to Turkey on November the 19th, saying that Ukraine has developed new proposals which will be presented to partners. However, Russia says its own representatives will not attend the Istanbul talks, even as it insists it remains open to negotiations. Gilbert Doctorow joins us now. He's a Russian affairs expert. He joins us live from Brussels. Gilbert, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. What are your thoughts? Of course, Moscow says it's open to these discussions, open to negotiations. However, a no-show in Istanbul, does that prove that Moscow, does that prove the opposite of this statement?
I think that the mission of Mr. Zelensky to Istanbul is an effort to stamp out the problems he has with the United States over the corruption scandal that your expert panelist was speaking about a few moments ago. Both in Europe and the United States, there's $150 million skimming from contracts relating to energy by Mr. Zelensky's closest associates has put him under a cloud. And he has been, in the last several days, very, very busy in diplomacy, traveling to Greece, to France, now to Spain, all with and ahead of him, this trip to Istanbul, precisely to overcome all the negatives from this latest corruption scandal and to remind Ukrainians as well that he's doing his job. After all, he concluded a major contract with the French for 100.
Gilbert, of course, Turkey has played mediator before. Does Ankara have leverage left with Moscow and Kiev at this stage? And of course, bear in mind the United States' relationship in these discussions as well, of course.
Well, of course, Russia will try not to offend the United States and try not to appear to be against negotiations with Zelensky. However, of course, the Kremlin is decidedly against concluding any agreement with Zelensky, with the Nazi gang that he represents in control of Ukraine since 2014. The objectives of the Russian special military operation, as originally announced by President Putin and repeated ever since numerous times, includes not only demilitarization, meaning the destruction of the Ukrainian army, which is proceeding rather nicely, but denazification, meaning, put it in simple English, regime change. If there is no hint of regime change that comes out of this announcement of the visit by Zelensky to Istanbul.
Yes, Gilbert Doctorow, do stay with us as we have further updates coming out of the conflict. And Russia's Sergei Lavrov has met Indian